Hi everyone, Joe Savage here again. In this video I'm going to talk to you about consumer electronics, how important they are to me and the stuff that I use. I hope you enjoy. My first video opened the conversation about me reinventing myself in my 2 years since I've been back here in Ireland. The purpose of today's video is to extend the conversation about why I have this personal channel and what I want to talk about. The purpose of the personal channel is for me to help build a community, maybe use the skills, the experience, the knowledge, who I am to support people and give them some encouragement, or just to hang out and have a chat about stuff. Part of that is for me to explain the kind of things that interest me. Of all of the things that interest me, one of them that has fascinated me for the longest period of time has been my interest in consumer electronics, in tech, the benefits and how tech and consumer electronics have to help the productivity of your workload and your business and your entertainment and all of the things that integrate you into society. Now, some people think that somebody of my age is very unusual for me to be interested in tech, but I don't know why, but I'm fascinated by tech and have been for an extended period of time. But I was a late starter. In 1998, when I first came back to Ireland to take up a role as an operations director for a development company here, I was introduced to my office, which had a computer on it. Now, in all of my time in the UK, which is 14 odd years from the time I qualified and left Ireland, I'd never used a computer. The most technologically advanced I had been, apart from using the TV, was a mobile phone, and mobile phones were not smartphones in those days. Although I had the latest mobile phone and was always interested in that technology, the technology just wasn't there, and computers were not something I got a chance to work with. But now I had no choice. I didn't tell the guy who introduced me to my office that I never switched on a computer before, but I decided that I would very quickly learn about it. So I went off and did a 10-week course, learned how to build computers, how to source the motherboards, the GPUs, the CPUs, put it all together, put it into a case, and to configure the drivers and get a functional working computer, which I did, and I was very proud of after 10 weeks of having never switched one on before. But probably more important was the software that was being used in the construction industry. In those days, there wasn't an awful lot of integrated apps and software and ERP systems that exist today, but what there was Microsoft Suite, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and then they brought out Microsoft Project, which is very handy for me because I could build Gantt charts and construction schedules and programs with my team, and we could manage and organize projects more effectively, more efficiently that way. But the reason I'm talking about this today is that I want people to understand that at my age, consumer technology is a big part of my life, has been for a long time. It first started with, I suppose, the BlackBerry was the big life changer, big deal that came about, and that was a few years before the iPhone. I was able to do my emails on the go. I mean, I was getting 100 plus emails a day back then, and I was able to do my emails on the go. I was able to go to sites, and I was able to take photographs and send them through emails to people, WTF is going on here type stuff, and I was able to get feedback and follow up, and I was able to buy back my 3 hours of every evening that I used to spend after dinner on my computer, on my laptop, following up with emails and sending instructions to people. So the power of technology to improve your life seems today, when anyone talks about it, to be just normal. What's this guy talking about? But that's not how it was. So I embraced that technology, and I probably overdosed. No, probably about it. I had one of the first Bluetooth headsets, and people thought I was talking to myself and I was a crazy person when I was driving around. I was connected. It was to me, it was great and it was wonderful, even if they did drop off a few times because the technology wasn't what it is today. The reason I suppose I'm talking about this today in this second part of my channel is that I want to talk about things that are of interest to me, and technology and consumer electronics is very much of interest to me. Recently, I've got into making YouTube videos, as you can see, and that requires another set of technology that I had to learn about. One of them being this audio technology here with this microphone here in front of you, which is connected through an XLR audio interface and connected in through my CalDigit ST4 into my computer. And that allows me to literally have this set up on my desk on a regular basis, and all I have to do is take my laptop, plug in one USB-C and the whole thing works, and works very well. This technology is obviously something that not a lot of people use, except obviously people who are probably making YouTube videos. I also have this guy here, which is the DJI Pocket 3, which I believe very soon will be replaced with the Pocket 4. I mean, this is an amazing 4K camera that you can literally walk around. It tracks your head, a separate microphone you can connect on, and gives you all of the functionality without really understanding how photography works. But recently I dusted off some old cameras I bought a few years ago. When I say a few years ago, one 20 years ago, one 12 years ago, and they're out of date to some degree, but they can be used. So I'm going to start putting in the getting some new batteries and battery chargers so we can actually use them, and start getting involved with photography. Photography is something that always interests me, but life just took over and I never got into it, so I'm doing that now. But software and technology and the use of software and the integration of software into the hardware today is something that I use a lot. I use predominantly in the last 2 years a Mac, although most of my life I've used Windows machines. I use a Mac because a Mac is a far more stable ecosystem from where I'm sitting. I have an iPhone, I have a iPad, I have an Apple Watch, and I have the headphones that obviously go with it. So, but that's not the reason. The reason is it's just so stable. You don't have all of the update stuff going on, the fans kicking in when you're practically doing nothing that Windows machines have. I do have the latest Windows machine from the Surface machine from Microsoft, because there are times when clients need me to use Microsoft Project or one of these softwares that are only applicable to a Windows machine, and sometimes you don't have a choice. So I keep it up to date and use it periodically. Again, it's just literally I take the USB-C out of my Mac and I plug it into the Windows machine, click a button on the keyboard and the mouse, and everything works. And that's technology today. So if this is of interest to you, if the idea of talking about the integration of consumer electronics into my life and how I improve my productivity and my communication and connection with other people is of interest to you, let me know in the comments below and we can do a lot more information on that. Technology is very interesting to me, so I think irrespective of the comments, I'm still going to get involved and still going to show some of the latest stuff, because for me it's very interesting. I just received the Apple AirPods Max, the new ones, the Max 2 ones there with the USB-C connection, so I'm going to be opening them up and taking a look at them soon. But I want to wrap this video up here now, and the purpose of the conversation is to just let everybody know that I'm interested in consumer electronics and have been for many years. I'm working with software developers as well to produce some apps that will help to make life simpler for people in construction management, site management on construction projects, which is the core business that I'm involved in. So for me, the application of consumer electronics and software into your life, into your society, is critically important. And even at my age, I would consider myself to probably have a technology acumen of someone half of my age, because of my interest and because of my heavy involvement with technology and consumer electronics over the last number of years. So if that's of interest to you and you want to hear more about such stuff, please subscribe and put some notes in the comments about the stuff that you think might add value to you in your life, either through work or personal stuff, and I'll be happy to get involved and get back to you on that again. So until the next video, catch up with you next time.